J Project. If those secrets are exposed, the entire plan to take the valley could collapse, yet uncovering the truth comes with serious risk. The people behind the land takeover have already shown that they are willing to use intimidation and violence to protect their interests. Anyone who threatens their power becomes a target. For the Duttons, this means stepping even deeper into a dangerous game, where one mistake could cost lives. Meanwhile, the emotional weight on the family continues growing. The younger generation watches as their home becomes the center of a conflict that could destroy everything they know. Some begin wondering whether the ranch can truly survive in a world that is changing so quickly, but others feel the opposite. They believe that if the Duttons lose this fight, the legacy of the ranch will disappear forever. The story hinted at in this first look makes one thing very clear. The events of 1969 were not just another struggle for the Dutton family, they were a turning point that shaped the future of Yellowstone for decades to come. The choices made during this time would define how the ranch survived, how the family protected its power, and how the Dutton name continued to dominate the land. And as the tension reaches its final moment, one powerful idea remains at the center of the story. The Dutton family does not simply live on the land, they are part of it. Every mountain, every river, and every acre of that ranch carries the memory of the generations who fought to protect it. Anyone who tries to take Yellowstone must be ready to face the people who are born to defend it. Because in the world of the Duttons, land is more than property, it is legacy. Just when it seems like the conflict has reached its peak, the final moments of the story hint that the real battle for Yellowstone is only beginning. The enemies who believed they could quietly remove the Dutton family are starting to realize they have awakened something far more dangerous than they expected. For generations, the ranch has survived because the people protecting it were willing to sacrifice everything. And now, in the turbulent year of 1969, that same determination is rising once again. The valley around the ranch has become a battlefield of influence. Wealthy developers continue pushing their plan to transform the region into a modern empire of highways, oil operations, and luxury estates. Powerful political figures are quietly supporting the project, believing that progress cannot be stopped. To them, the Dutton Ranch is simply an outdated obstacle standing in the way of the future. But the Duttons see it differently. They believe that once the land is lost, something much deeper disappears with it, the identity of the West itself. Inside the ranch, the family prepares for the long fight ahead. The threats they have faced so far were only the beginning. Every move made by their enemies suggests that a much larger strategy is unfolding. Land agents continue approaching nearby ranchers, offering massive sums of money to buy their property. Slowly, piece by piece, the land surrounding Yellowstone is beginning to change ownership. It is a quiet but powerful tactic. If the Dutton Ranch becomes surrounded by corporate land, it will eventually be forced to surrender or collapse under the pressure. But surrender has never been part of the Dutton story. The leadership within the family begins forming a new plan, one that could turn the entire situation around. Instead of simply reacting to the attacks coming from outside forces, the Duttons start preparing to challenge those forces directly. They begin studying the network of businessmen, politicians, and to seize the land permanently. Yet standing still is not an option either. The Duttons know that the people targeting them will not stop until the ranch is gone. Another powerful layer of tension appears as hidden secrets begin surfacing. The possibility of betrayal within the valley becomes more real than ever. Someone who once stood beside the Duttons may have already chosen the other side, feeding valuable information to the powerful forces trying to destroy the ranch. This discovery shakes the foundation of trust within the community. Suddenly, every conversation feels suspicious, every alliance feels uncertain, and every decision becomes more dangerous than the last. Meanwhile, the outside world continues to change rapidly. The late 1960s were a time of transformation across America, and that change is beginning to reach the quiet mountains of Montana. Modernization, industry, and political influence are slowly pushing the traditional ranching life toward extinction. For many families in the region, selling their land has already become the only option. But the Duttons refuse to accept that fate. To them, the ranch is not simply land, it is identity, history, and survival. As the trailer moves toward its final moments, the tension builds to a dramatic peak. The enemies of the ranch appear confident that they have already won. Their money, their influence, and their connections seem unstoppable. But history has proven again and again that the Dutton family does not follow the rules written by others. When pushed to the edge, they create their own path. The final tone of the trailer suggests that the upcoming story will reveal one of the most important chapters in the entire Yellowstone legacy. The events of 1969 may have shaped the future that fans eventually witness decades later. The struggles, sacrifices, and brutal choices made during this time could be the reason the ranch still stands today. Every generation of the Dutton family carries the weight of the. By the time the trailer reaches its final moments, the situation surrounding the ranch has reached a breaking point. What started as quiet negotiations and hidden pressure has now evolved into a full-scale conflict that threatens to destroy everything the Dutton family has spent generations protecting. The enemies circling the ranch are no longer hiding in the shadows. Their presence is open, bold, and dangerous. It becomes clear that they believe the Duttons are finally weak enough to be removed from the land for good. But what they fail to understand is that the Dutton legacy was never built on surrender. As fear spreads throughout the valley, the Dutton family begins preparing for the inevitable confrontation. The trailer hints that the ranch will soon face attacks not only on the land itself, but also on the people who call it home. The atmosphere grows darker with every passing moment. Friends become uncertain allies, and longtime enemies suddenly appear more aggressive than ever before. The pressure from developers and powerful politicians continues to increase, and the legal threats surrounding the ranch become stronger. Contracts are being prepared, government officials are being convinced, and powerful investors are waiting patiently for the moment when the Duttons finally break. But instead of breaking, the family begins doing what they have always done best: fighting back. The leader of the ranch understands that this battle will require more than strength. It will require strategy, patience, and the willingness to make sacrifices that could change the future of the family forever. In this final section of the trailer, the tone becomes even more intense as it becomes clear that the coming war will not end peacefully. Every choice made from this point forward carries enormous consequences. One wrong move could bring the entire force of the law down on Thif. Meanwhile, the Dutton leader at the center of the story is forced to make impossible decisions. Protecting the land now requires strategies that push the family into morally difficult territory. Every choice carries consequences. If they respond too aggressively, they could give their enemies the excuse they need to bring the law down on them. But if they stay passive, the ranch could be taken piece by piece until nothing remains. This pressure begins to divide opinions within the family. Some members believe the only way to survive is to fight back harder than ever before. Others fear that escalating the conflict will only bring more violence and destruction to the people they love. Another powerful theme hinted at in the trailer is the clash between old traditions and the modern world. The younger generation sees the rapid changes happening across America. Cities are expanding, technology is transforming industries, and the lifestyle of ranching is slowly becoming outdated. To them, holding on to thousands of acres of land while powerful corporations circle around them may seem like a losing battle. But the older Duttons refuse to accept that future. They remember the sacrifices made by the generations before them. The wars fought, the harsh winters survived, and the blood spilled to keep the ranch alive. Walking away now would mean erasing all of that history. As the story moves deeper into the conflict, the trailer suggests that betrayal may play a major role in the unfolding drama. Someone close to the ranch appears to be leaking information to the enemy. Every time the Duttons prepare for a defensive move, their opponents seem to know exactly what is coming. This mysterious betrayal creates an atmosphere of paranoia inside the ranch. Trust becomes fragile, and even loyal allies start questioning who they can truly rely on. The realization that the threat might be coming from within makes the situation even more dangerous than the outside forces closing in. As the tension around the ranch continues to grow, the trailer begins to reveal a much darker side of the battle that the Dutton family is about to face. What once looked like simple land negotiations slowly transforms into something far more dangerous. Behind the scenes, powerful businessmen and political leaders are quietly building an alliance designed to take control of the entire valley. Their goal is clear: turn the wild land of Montana into profit, no matter what it costs. To them, the Dutton Ranch is the final obstacle standing in the way of a massive development project that could change the region forever. Highways, drilling operations, and modern cities are all part of their plan, but they know one thing very well: as long as the Dutton family remains on that land, none of it can happen. Inside the ranch, the pressure is becoming impossible to ignore. The family begins realizing that every move they make is being watched. Phone calls suddenly go silent when certain names are mentioned. Local officials who once supported the ranch now avoid any involvement. Even longtime neighbors start behaving differently, as if they are afraid to be seen standing beside the Duttons. The message is becoming very clear. Someone powerful is spreading fear throughout the valley, slowly isolating the family from the rest of the community. And when isolation begins, attacks usually follow soon after. The trailer hints at several intense confrontations that prove the conflict is no longer just political. Strange vehicles appear near the ranch at night. Armed strangers begin moving through nearby towns, asking questions about the Dutton property and its security. The ranch hands quickly realize that these men are not ordinary workers or travelers. They are professionals. People hired specifically to intimidate, threaten, and if necessary, eliminate anyone protecting the land. For the first time in years, the ranch must prepare for a real war, not a legal battle in courtrooms, boo. Ole in this chapter of the Dutton saga. Gunshots echo through the valleys, tense confrontations take place on dusty roads, and the family begins realizing that someone powerful is orchestrating everything behind the scenes. Whoever is pulling the strings doesn't just want the ranch, they want the Dutton name erased from Montana completely. But the fight for the ranch isn't just physical. It's also emotional. The younger members of the family are beginning to question whether holding on to the land is worth the danger surrounding them. The outside world offers opportunities, modern cities, and a different kind of life far away from constant conflict. Yet the older generation believes that leaving the ranch would mean abandoning everything their ancestors fought for. This clash between tradition and change becomes one of the most powerful themes hinted at in the trailer. While the rest of America is experiencing cultural revolutions, protests, and political chaos, the Dutton Ranch is experiencing its own revolution. A fight between preserving the past and surviving the future. As the first look continues, it becomes clear that the enemies targeting the ranch are far more organized than anyone expected. Secret meetings are happening in government offices. Land contracts are being prepared behind closed doors. And mysterious outsiders with dangerous reputations are quietly entering Montana. Every sign points to a massive takeover operation already in motion. The Duttons may be tough, but they are about to face an opponent with unlimited money, political power, and no respect for the rules. For the first time, the ranch isn't just threatened by rival ranchers or local conflicts. It's being targeted by forces that could reshape the entire region. And if the Duttons lose this battle, the Yellowstone Ranch could disappear forever. Yet one thing the trailer makes very clear is that underestimating the Dutton family has always been a dangerous mistake. The ranch has survived. Corporations are buying land at terrifying speed, and the old ranching families are slowly being pushed out of the world they built. But for the Dutton family, giving up their land has never been an option. The ranch isn't just property, it's history, blood, and survival. In this first look at Yellowstone 1969, we are introduced to a new generation of Duttons, standing at the center of one of the most dangerous decades in the ranch's history. The world outside the valley is changing fast, but inside Montana's rugged landscape, tensions are about to explode. Powerful investors from the east see the massive Yellowstone land as the perfect opportunity for oil drilling, highways, and luxury developments. To them, the ranch is nothing more than acres on a map. But to the Duttons, it represents generations of sacrifice, and they are ready to defend it with everything they have. As rumors of land deals begin spreading through the region, the family quickly realizes that this isn't just about money anymore. Politicians, businessmen, and criminal groups are secretly working together, creating a network of power that threatens to crush